Hi, I'm Harvey for VCN, and this is the Thursday night handicap race. We are back with the regular series after the Christmas break. Like all great series, we had a pre-call last week and a lot of riders got involved. There was demand for the races even though we were on a Christmas break, so a lot of riders got involved and we had a pre-call event. This is now a series starting proper, back to being organised by the fantastic Will who put such a lot of time and effort into organising all these courses and making this series work for everybody. And we're on Pienza, which is an absolutely awesome course, one of the real roads on RGT. Fantastic scenery. We've got the cathedral in the background there. I think it's a cathedral anyway. Up on the top of the hill. This is the target. This is where the start finish line is. This is the target when we're coming up that last little climb. This is where we're going to be hitting. This is the point that we want to be finishing on. Putting all of our effort in to get here. The handicap race is every Thursday night, 7 o'clock UK time. It's a fantastic time for racing, just gives you enough time to get in from work, get yourself sorted out, get onto the bike, get ready, get banging out of those watts. Really stoked to be back on it, to be back doing the race. It's been nice for Christmas break, but it's good fun to get back in the studio. In the freezing cold studio, so I'm going to be putting into PCN towels to get a heater in here, and into the big wigs to get some money out of them for a little bit of heat to keep yourself warm. Again, really jump on. It's a little bit different when you're riding a bike and you're sweating cobs out, and you don't mind it being cold then, but at the moment, like a little bit of warmth here. Handicap race. For those who aren't aware, it's a race where all riders have either a weight penalty or a weight benefit. So this is done in order to keep the racing more challenging for everybody. It means that elite racers can compete against the less elite, the guys who don't have the time to train and just do it for a little bit of fun. It can be a competition between all of them. The way you do it is you take your FTP and you use that FTP divided by 3.2 and that gives you your weight. This is the only time in virtual cycling when it's acceptable to weight dope. You get your weight, give them that formula, you put it into RGT and that's your weight for this event. If you're a less able rider, that means that you're lighter, you're able to fly over climbs. If you're a more competent rider, you've got a higher FTP, if you put weight on, it slows you down those climbs. It evens up the playing field. It means that everybody's got more of a chance of winning. They've got more of a more competitive edge, basically, but it means there's a lot more going on in racing. It means that the guys who have got this competitive edge, they need to look at it and they need to think, where can I use this? I need to hit it in hills. I need to stick with the heavier guys with bigger FTPs and flat sections. And you have to look at the way the course is laid out, the hills, the flats, the corners, and use every section of the course to your advantage, because you haven't got pure watts anymore you normally have in your racing, and you need to just work out where you're going to use the attack points. So we're using Pienza tonight. A lot of the time that we use the roads, they are real roads from Will's knowledge. He goes around everywhere he goes, looks at it and goes, oh, I could make a nice course out of this one. Much to the dismay of several of the riders. But tonight we're on Pienza, 3 laps off. There's 2 main climbs on Pienza. The one that we're starting off at the top of, the main hill climb, the climb to the wall. And then there's also a climb in the middle, which doesn't really have a name, but it is still a challenging climb. So we've got 50 seconds till the start of this race. We're nearly underway. And we've got a long zoomed out shot here so we can catch the start of the race. Most turbo races, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them who are watching now, you might be watching for the first time. Most turbo races start off with a very aggressive start. They tend to be shorter races, so the what's the phrase? They're just long, drawn out painfulness of the longer events that you'd see in something like the Tour de France, where you have these slower starts. It doesn't happen. You're only going to be racing for an hour, so people go at it from the gun and they just bang out the watts all the way through. Unfortunately, Wayne, one of our racers who is, there we see Guy flying off the front there now. Wayne, known as the Wayne Train, one of our popular racers, frequent flyers on the RGT races, is not able to get to us tonight, so hopefully he's going to be catching up the live stream. I am on the laptop as we speak, so if anybody's out there watching the live stream, wants to get a message out to me, wants to see how any of their friends are performing, get the inside track, get them out there, we can move the camera around and we can zoom in on these guys. Going up against a couple of big events at the moment that are happening on RGT. RGT is getting busier all the time. Lots more racers coming into the platform, and at the moment we've got the Tour de Mon on, which is a series race. So there's quite a few races that would normally have been in the handicap race who are in that at the moment, but that'll be fading out soon. We see Darren Ray on the front here. He's taking the lead. He's been speaking to Darren midweek. He's trying some different settings on his turbo trainer. You've got a setting on the turbo trainer called slope intensity, which means that when you're going up and down these hills, you can soften the effect of the hill somewhat. This isn't something that would be used to, you can't use it to cheat. You still need to use the same amount of watts to get up and down the hill, but it is something that you can use. For instance, myself, my gearing is more for the flatlands. My bike's set up more for flatter areas than it is for, say, climbing Stelvio. So I use the slope intensity. I drop it down a little bit, down to 80%, and it puts my rear cassette from a 28 to roughly what I'd say is a 32, and it just means that I can cope with doing these longer, drawn out alpine climbs without blowing my kneecaps off. Oh, you see Stuart there going off the front, making an attack there. Stuart Ludlow pushing. Oh, he's chasing Darren. Darren's going off the front here on this climb. 10%er. This is the second climb I was saying. Pienza is quite a rolling course. There's little climbs here and there, but this is the main two climbs. This is the second of them. The other one we started at back there. So we see Brejo is there taking Darren's just dropped back into second place. Stuart Ludlow's in fourth, and that's Stuart Ludlow's coming through in third, being followed by, I think it's Matt Barker. Darren's just dropping off the back there, and Guy Hepner coming through, chasing on to this little group. So this group's stringing out a little bit now as Will Deegan at the front there, who's putting in the effort. He will just put the effort in there, getting into this descent section. Will's opening up a gap there of around about 76 meters on the chasing riders. One of the things that happens in virtual racing that doesn't happen to the same extent in real road racing is that the virtual racers find it harder to speak to each other. So we have a Discord group for the PRT races. It's publicized, it's on the description everywhere you see it really. It's there for the Discord riders. So you can get into the Discord group and you can chat. Well, pant, scream, swear. But what you do find quite often in the virtual races is that you get a sole rider who'll go out at the front, and realistically they should easily be caught by the pack. But what quite often happens is the pack doesn't communicate with each other. They don't say, oh, you know, we'll take it in turns, we'll do 10 seconds on the front and we'll chase this guy down. They don't communicate because they're not all in the same Discord room. They might be in a Discord room with a mate, with one of the other teams, and they don't chase the rider down. They should do, because they've got more watts at their disposal. But what quite often happens is that solo rider just keeps on tapping away at their tempo, and they make it a lot further through the race than they should do. Precision coaching is just mentioning there, it'll be interesting if Will and Guy, it will be interesting if Guy and Ben get together on the flat. So I don't know if we've got Ben Lowe in this front group here. Ben Lowe's just a little bit further back in 10th position. We'll just take a drop back now. We've got Will there in 7th, just being overtaken by, I think it's Darren Ray still in the mix there. Oh, it's Hulslemans. And Will's trying desperately to hold onto the wheel of Hulslemans there and get back to this group. Little group of 8 at the front. Just checking there. We've got Darren. He's 100 metres off the pack. He's been dropped back a little bit there. We've got Ben Lowe pushing hard to catch up to Darren. And then I suspect that Ben will be trying to leapfrog him and straight up to the group in front. We got a little bit of a jump here to Desault there. I think that's Mauro Brescani is his real name. That's probably an absolute awful pronunciation of that name, but fortunately it's the best I can do. He's got his weight there shown at the end of his name. He's running at 76 kilograms at the moment. Almeida in 12th, Portuguese rider. Huff in 13th. And then we've got a group here. We've just got Reynolds flying through there. 14th position, trying to chase onto the group of Huff and Almeida just ahead. Bringing a lot of the group with them. We've got Strong, Kent, David Brookhuizen, Mero, and then we've got Rhea Usher. There's Muzz just with her, 20th position. Avery in 21st, Robinson 22nd position, Simmons in 23rd. Then we've got a little bit of a gap back to Jonathan Wales, been isolated at the moment. Behind him we've got Goodfellow, Huga, and we've got Lou in 27th position. I always say Lou's a great racer on the climb, so with these repetitive climbs, this climb to the wall, expect to see that Lou will clear some of those places, blow back from 27th. But Cook just following, Ursula, Anton Wouters, Hayes, Robin Druitt and Ian Hurst there, battling together in 32nd and 33rd position. Rob Q, Bev Usher. Bev had a fantastic race just before the Christmas close. Brought the Combativity Award. Johnson, Alves, got Tom Smith, Texiera. Got some bots, and I think that might be the end of it for. Yeah, I think that's the real riders now. We've just got bots. Generally have. Oh, Goodfellow's had an issue there. Goodfellow stopped for some reason. Alves, Johnson, Bev there. As I mentioned just briefly, there is a Combativity Award, which was won by Bev Usher just recently. Combativity, this race, you can win this race, no doubt about that. You can win any race, really, yeah. But this is a race that you have to be honest about your FTP, you have to be honest about your weight that you put into the game. So it isn't focused. Darren's doing well there to maintaining 9th position going into this climb. It isn't focused upon the winning, the losing. This race, Ferrara there having a dropout, Portuguese rider. He's running 94 kilograms. Hopefully he's going to get back there. He's got restarted. Could have just been a poor gear change, maybe a drop chain there. Sometimes you can drop a chain on the turbo train and just quickly flip gears and slip it back on. He's put in some effort now to get himself back into the group. He's coming back to Deegan. With Deegan be able to hold his wheel, there won't be much drafting effect over this kind of a gradient. And 490 watts there for Ferrara. A little bit of a drop from form for Ferrari, but he's getting back there now, and I think that just shows how much he's improved over the last few weeks and months coming back to the handicap race. So he runs into the lead through all the other riders. A little tight grouping of 8 here. Will Deegan just dropping off the back, and I'm not sure whether he'll be able to reconnect with this group. So rolling back to the Combativity Award. The Combativity Award is voted for in the WhatsApp group for the PRT race. Anybody can join the WhatsApp group. It's open for everyone to join. It's publicising the event and on a wider basis, just trying to publicise RGT and get more people on the RGT platform and give help where we can. But yeah, it's voted for the Combativity Award. It can be for things like bridging an unbridgeable gap. Something like Ferrari's just done there. You drop power, a couple of 100 meters, put it all out there on the line to get back to the group. And those are the sort of things that get voted for. Those are the sort of things that get seen. And that's the reason that you get the Combativity Award. And it's more important than winning the race because it's voted for by your peers. It's much more important than just getting over the line first. You see Brejo there is up at the front of this race. Ferrara, Jones, Hepner, Barker, Hulsemans, Ludlow, all tightly packed there. As I say, if you want to send through a message, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. The app that I've got open at the moment collates all of the messages from everywhere, so no matter what platform you're on, if you send a message through, I'll get it and I'll read it out and answer it, hopefully. I think we've got planned now that the next 7 races for the handicap race, they are somewhere around there. You get out there, have a look for them. I'll be sharing them out on the VCN page. We have a VCN Facebook page on Facebook, obviously. So if you like these events, if you like the streams, then get onto the VCN Facebook page. Give us a like and a follow. If you're on YouTube watching this, then if you can subscribe to the stream, that'd be fantastic. It gives us a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of joy to see a little follow going on there, those little follows. A message from Lou saying send help. So we'll just get to the top of this climb now and we'll head back to Lou and see how she's getting on with this climb. To see Brejo cycling there, coming round this last hairpin onto this section. A little bit of a change in gradient there as we come through that hairpin. Brejo's making it up to the end of the segment. It's not the end of the climb. The wall climb is quite punishing and then it continues on past where the segment is. Brejo opened up a gap of 30 meters, but I think even without the pack behind working together on the descent that follows this climb, they just naturally close him down, all sharing from the drafting advantage and just bouncing around in that draft, yo-yoing off each other. And they've even closed him down before we finish the climb now. That's the group back together, this group of 8 at the front. Jones just rolling off the front there. Be interesting to see on this section whether anyone does decide to do a do or die run at the top of that climb and just go flying down the next descent. A little bit of history on the Pienza course. Pienza is in Tuscany. The course is here. We see there's some Strada Bianchi on the course, and that's part of the reason the course exists. There's an event called L'Eroica, which basically the government had planned to surface a lot of the Strada Bianchi roads, a lot of the white roads around the area, and the locals thought that the white roads added to the ambience, the thing that made this area special, and they didn't want the white roads to be tarmacked over. So that they got grouped together and they created an event called L'Eroica, which is a historical type race, sportive, which takes in a lot of these Strada Bianchi roads around the area. And that event was successful. The whole campaign was successful, so the Strada Bianchi didn't get tarmacked over, and they're still out there for everyone to see and everyone to go and ride on. And just to add to the character of the countryside and the area. You see Reynolds now coming up to the top of the climb. Ruman there, not leaving the start line, unfortunately. Almeida. Darren Ray's drop back slide is 14th position. I'll have to get in touch with him after the event and see how his new settings have gone with the slope intensity. See Strong, Bruckhusen, Ben Low, drop back slightly. Buga, Raya, Murray, Merrow, Robinson. Lou just struggling there to bridge to that gap. She's come up from 27th to 24th, but on this ascent, she's not going to get up to the next group in front of her. One wonders whether it might be wise to wait that little section for 40 meters for Jonathan Wales to catch up and descend together with Jonathan around to the next climb. Back on the road with Jonathan Wales, Ursula, Anton Wouters, Simmons and Cook. Hayes there a little bit further back. And then still, I don't know whether they're riding together or battling each other here. We've got Ian Hurst and Robin Druitt. One of the nice things about the handicap race is that we do get some of the older riders involved. I hope Ian and Robin don't mind me saying, but they are more in that direction. Also got Bev there, who's just a little bit further back on the race. The Alves there. Rob G. Bev Usher. Bev, as I say, is a little bit of an older athlete as well. Johnson in 36th. Tom Smith in 37th position. Nice to see the club jerseys being worn. That's a Lou Team club jersey. Lots of jerseys that can be worn and personalised for your avatar. And we've got the PRT jersey in the game as well. Zoom in on that in a moment as we go back to Goodfellow. Goodfellow there, just rounding out that last corner. Coming up towards the end of this segment. But not quite the finish line. He's wearing the E-Cycle Club Denmark top. Danish Cycle Club have been coming over to RGT in their droves. They've got a big group on Beacle, but there's a strong following of them now on RGT that race solely on RGT. And they're moving away from Beacle, which is great for the platform. Great to see such strong races coming over here. Past Smith, Johnson, Bev onto the Strada Bianchi there on this descent, and wearing the PRT Precision Race Team jersey there with the sponsors, Specialized, Wahoo, Chimera. One more sponsor on the back there. You may have noticed in the beginning of the stream we played a trailer from Precision Rewards, which is a fairly fairly new system that Will's set up. Will's been in the industry for over 20 years now. We did an interview with him, which is on YouTube, which I recommend you go and have a look at. He's built up a good relationship with many of the suppliers around the industry, and also has had the opportunity to test a lot of the equipment and a lot of the supplements, nutrients, etc. And what he's done is he's used his insider knowledge and his contacts to create a discount structure, passes discounts on to users for free. All you have to do is sign up on the rewards website, and you can start getting discounts instantaneously off brands like Torque, Specialized, Cube. That's another big one. But importantly, it's free. You don't pay anything. There are bigger discounts on offer if you wanted to make a purchase of a larger item or a larger quantity. You can sign up for one of the staged sections on the Precision Rewards and get yourself a bigger discount code, and then you can even cancel it the month after you've made your big purchase. But yeah, the initial one is free. You can jump in there and sign up and get whatever you want at a discount. We all love that after Christmas when the bank balance is a little bit tighter. And past Alves now. Alves coming up on Hurst, and it looks like we're missing Robin Druitt now. I don't know whether it looks like he may have dropped out, unfortunately. Ian Hurst has lost his battling partner there as Alves comes up on his wheel. It's a strong climb, this one. We're going to run up to the front and see how this climbs affects the pack of 8 at the front, and we'll come back through the group as we move on. You see there's been some thinning there. The group at the front, we've got Guy Hepner coming through onto the front now, and Breo's still there. Hulselman's just dropping off the back there is Jones. Deegan I think it's actually recovered slightly. Deegan's 310 meters behind her. He's not going to get back to this group now. Jones 42 meters going into the red now, trying to push his way up this small incline to get back to the group in front. But they're moving at pace. It's going to be very hard for Jones to close down that gap. We roll into a descent now. You're going to see that gap open massively. We're at 60 meters now, and with this group working together, as I say, even if you don't intentionally work together as a group descending, they will help each other. The guy at the back will get the drafting advantage, and then all of a sudden he'll fly through to the front, and they'll kind of do this yo-yo effect of dragging each other along. See that gap opening up to 90 meters there to Jones. So those that are a little bit newer to the RGT platform, up in the top left hand corner of the screen you can see the wattage of the rider that I'm focusing on, which at the moment it's Hulselman's, and you can see Hulselman's is just tucked into the wheel of Ferrara there, and in green is the drafting saving that he's making. He's saving something like 200 watts there, drafting off the wheel of Ferrara coming down that descent. RGT is a little bit different to a lot of the other platforms in that it uses server-side location for the riders. So your graphics are created on your local machine, but the actual position of those riders is all done on a server at RGT. So when you see a rider on the road, they're actually where you see them on the road. Some of the other platforms, they use fuzzy logic to work out where the riders are, because they only update the rider positions every 15-20 seconds. This makes them more durable if you have a poor connection, but it means that you could be drafting off a guy who's actually 30 meters behind you because he's dropped out. So that's not something you really want to be doing in an accurate race situation. You want to be able to know that the guy that you're drafting off is the guy that's in front of you, and if you've broken the elastic to the guy, then you know that you've broke the elastic to the guy, and he's not just going to reappear in front of you because he's been drafting off and you didn't realise. I'm sure at some point in the near future we'll see one of the avatars turning their head to the side. In RGT you have a look behind feature, and you hit the button, your avatar turns his head to the side, and you have effectively the use of a rear view mirror. I think that's one of the real bots that we've just gone through there. So you can look behind you, check what the gapping is to the rider behind you, and see whether you've broke that elastic, whether you need to carry on pushing, or whether you just ease up and let the riders come back past you and jump on their wheel for a while. We've got the grouping now: Ferrara, Hulsemans, Hepner. Barker is dropped back now as well. He's 40 meters distance. And we've got Jones, Deegan. There's a potential that on this climb now you might see Barker, Jones and Deegan all grouping up together. Jones, he's still got a gap of 160 meters back to Deegan there. So Deegan will see that he's got the potential to hook up there. Drop back now, you see there's a little bit of a battle going on between Huff, Ludlow and Kent now joining in the mix. Just behind him we've got Desault. And Reynolds, a little bit of a group in here. This will be interesting to see when coming through on the final lap who battles it out through this group, see if they stick together till the final section. Almeida caught in a little bit of no man's land. Not too far, got Strong chasing on behind him, and Darren Ray there grouped up with Strong as well. Darren just struggling a little bit on these climbs. Doing fantastically. Every week we see Darren performing better and better on these races. And a push in there to get back to the wheel of Strong. 600 watts, so he's passed him and off up the climb. May have just been a little bit knowing that the camera was on him. We'll drop back to Strong, and we've got Brookhuizen further back. Ben Lowe and Puga there. I suspect these three will group up now. Brookhuizen, Lowe and Puga. Robinson, Rhea, Avery and Muzz still grouped together here. Murray just distanced slightly, he was going up this climb. Not too far off. Got some of the different bots in the game today, so they've worked out slightly differently to normal. Again, those who aren't familiar with RGT, they've just introduced a whole new selection of bots. They used to just have what we'd refer to as pace bots, which were bots that you'd put in the game and they'd stay at a set pace. They've now introduced a whole range of bots. You've got what they refer to as real bots, and they're a bit more dynamic, a little bit more intelligent. They've got the ability in some cases to have a sprint. Some ones, they'll do wheel hugging, they'll come forward, chase onto your wheel, go in front of you, and then drop back onto your wheel again. You have to sprint to get away from them. So you've got the choice to select those and put them into your events, and it can mix things up a little bit. Fly forward, back up to the front as they're just coming over the top of this climb now, and we just see there now, Brejo put an effort in on that climb. He's still putting an effort in. It's 5.5 watts per kilogram as he comes underneath the segment and being chased by Hulsemans. Hulsemans desperately trying to stick to the wheel, but we can see that Guy Hepner's been distanced there, 55 meters to Hepner, and Ferrara, who was
distanced earlier on by a slight power outage, has been distanced again for 100 meters now from this front group. That's some phenomenal power by Brejo and Hulsemans there, just coming through these back markers of the bots. See the cathedral up on the top there. As Brejo pushes again, I don't think he's going to be wise to drop Hulsemans on this section now. Oh, he's trying to. Pushing on. Power level underneath his name's going orange. That you can see his watt per kilogram in relation to his FTP. Hulsemans just sitting in, taking it easy. I think he realises that there's not going to be much happening in this last little section. Pushes up to the wheel, going underneath the start-finish banner. The Hulsemans ideally wants to just be on the back of Brejo as they go over the top and down into the descent. Be very difficult for Brejo to break away from Hulsemans on the descent there. Both Belgium riders, I wonder if they know each other from other clubs around. The RGT world, where they're in other events. Proxima series has been running on Tuesday nights, I think. There's Hulsemans and Brejo light it up going over the top there. Hulsemans shuts down going into the strata bit, and he pushes again. He's pushing again. He's opening up a small gap, hitting up 8 point something watts per kilogram there. Brejo's awake to it, not letting him get away. Little explosions of power now going through this section. We've got a hard left-hander, hard right-hander, and then into a little kicker of a climb. It's up at 4% now. It's quite a challenge for the legs, and to make sure you're in the right gearing once you've come off that descent. Being told that guys just waited up there for Andre Ferrara. Two of them's going to come over the top together. Perhaps they'll be using their combined firepower to reel in these two riders. Hulsemans, Brejo. They're jousting with each other here now. Just quick reference that you've got the power lines underneath the riders' names there. See, Hulsemans is going green, which is tempo there. Blue and pale blue is below. Sorry. Yeah, blue and pale blue is way below your FTP. It's recovery and something else which I can't remember, but it's essentially recovery as well. Then you've got this orange, red, and deep red, which are above FTP efforts. I'm going to stick with Brejo and Hulsemans here because I have a feeling coming into this sharp climb, one of these is going to be putting in efforts to try and drop the other. Brejo goes yellow. Just a change of gear, I think, as we're coming into the aggressive section of the climb, going up 8% now. Not as long a climb this one as the wall, but it is a little bit steeper. We're going up 9.8, 10%. Brejo opens up now on Hulsemans. Hulseman not letting him get away. Brejo 6.5%, 6.5 watts per kilogram, and he's opened up a gap now on Hulsemans. He'll be able to open up further. Only 8 meters. That'll equate to a big distance as we get over the top and drop into the descent. Brejo's eased slightly and Hulseman's just reeling him back in. Hulseman's not wishing to take the lead. See the gap to Ferrara and Hepner's dropping somewhat. Down to 30 meters now. Ferrara and Hepner working together behind. Brejo goes again. You can see Ferrara and Hepner there closing down that gap. Brejo and Hulseman's going to be caught. I don't think they realise the danger coming from behind. Ferrara and Hepner making the catch. They're going to do it. Gap of just 10 metres. Hulseman's has dropped off slightly. Brejo's into the descent. Hulseman's into the descent. Ferrara and Hepner still working together. Snaking down this road now through the undergrowth. Ferrara is caught. Hepner still a little bit behind. Presumably Ferrara is heavier than all these riders now. We've seen the way he's just coming through on that descent without putting any weight, power in. He's caught them up. I think from last time I spoke to him, he was weighing in at 94 kilograms. I seem to remember Guy Hepner was carrying around about 20 kilograms extra. I've likened that in the past to being the equivalent of carrying a full bag of potatoes, full sack of potatoes as you're going round on your race. Ferrara is flying off the front there. The descent's ending now, coming round this corner, and we're coming into the very bottom of the long drag to the wall now. Ferrara, Hepner, Brejo and Hulseman's all grouped back together again now. Brejo pushes, Brejo kicks, opens up a gap. Nobody's noticed. 15 meters already. Brejo still opening up a gap. 22 meters. The group behind him going to work together and reel him back in again. Is Brejo going to just quietly sneak away? 24 meters. This sort of a gap's not a danger for a group of three working together, but a group of three looking at each other, who knows? Just gradually pulled Brejo back in now. And Ferrara coming through into second position onto the wheel of Brejo. And through into a slight descent. Pienza is one of my favourite courses in the game. Not only is it fantastic to look at from a scenery point of view, but I find it much more similar to the kind of riding that I do in real life. The slightly more rolling terrain, no punishing, well, not too many punishing climbs, but it's a little bit more rolling terrain in the middle sections. Much more similar to where I ride in real life. I'm just going to drop back on the group because I feel that we've got a bit of a stalemate in this front group at the moment. So I think we've got a chance to just drop back. See Barker's isolated. He's got 400 meters to the group in front. Jones behind him, 320 meters. Jones has been joined now by Desault, Deegan, and Kent's just made an effort to get back onto that group. That'll be an interesting group to watch coming up to the finish line. Huff, only 17 meters distance from that group, so I think they'll probably just tag on. Interesting how people judge their efforts to jump onto the wheels. Some riders looking to go into the red to just make it back onto the wheel and then rest. Other riders, they really just slightly increase the tempo and work on bringing that group in. Reynolds 500 meters back from the next group on the road. I can see a rider in the distance there, but I think it's one of the real bots that's just floating around. Almeida in 12th position. Stuart Ludlow in 13th, and Darren Ray working well there to keep his 14th position with strong challenging. Avery in 16th. Brookhusen in 17th. Puga coming through, and Ben Lowe just flying past Puga there, taking 18th position. And then we've got Murray, Robinson and Usher Hayes in 23rd. Blue back in 24th position, recovered 3 places from earlier on in the race. We'll see how well she does on the last climb there to see if she can recover any more. Merrow in 25th position. We've got Wouters in 26th with Wales 27th. Alves 28th and Ursula in 29th. Cook back in 30th. Rob G. I wonder if that's Rob Gill from the Rob Gill on RGT, who runs the Wednesday night Mountain Goats series. It's been on holiday as the TDM's taken place this week. So I really recommend that you take a look at that series if you've got time. Wednesday evenings, Mountain Goat series. It is a challenging series. You may have guessed, Mountain Goats. It's mostly up. Ian Hurst. It looks like Robin Druitt has dropped out this evening. Not seen Oliver Payne either tonight, but I know he was racing in the Madeira series that's been running on Wednesdays as well. I think he's tired his legs out doing that last night. See Goodfellow and Simmons. Goodfellow, I think, was stalled earlier on. Good to see they've got moving. And Usher, 35th position. Smith in 36th. Johnson just coming up that big Pienza wall climb, 37th. We go back up to the front. We're now seeing the group of Hepner, Hulsemans, Ferrara and Brejo. We're going to follow this group through till the end because I think they've got a lot to give us on this climb coming up now. They're just at the bottom of this climb, and we've got the timed segment start in a moment. Fairly steady climb, the Pienza wall climb, but it does crush the legs. It'll be interesting to see. Brejo and Hulsemans were battling somewhat earlier on, and I'll be wondering how much they've got left to give on this final climb, whether Hepner and Ferrara have been able to save more in the legs. I know Ferrara, we saw earlier on, he had a power outage on this climb, so maybe Ferrara burnt some of his matches earlier as well, and could all be down to Hepner. So yeah, Ferrara just into 4th position there. Stay awake. Losing that wheel as Hulsemans pushes on a little bit in the front there. Brejo just coming over the top of him. Ferrara just looking like he might be distanced a little bit now. I'm sure he can close that gap, but putting the repeated efforts in might not be what you want to do just as we're coming into the final climb of the race. Hepner just tapping out at a steady pace in the front. Hulsemans in 3rd wheel. Ferrara just having a gap open up on him there again, 7 meters. Not much drafting benefit to be had on these climbs. The speeds have slowed down somewhat, and that means that the drafting benefit decreases as well. So not as much of a benefit to be holding a wheel, but you do want to be in contact with your competitors. You don't want to have to close down a big gap. I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you are, you can like and subscribe. If you're not enjoying it, if you could like and subscribe, great. We're running a slightly different setup this evening to what we've ran in the past. I don't know if anyone's noticed. There's Brejo putting in a bit of an effort now. Oh, is this Brejo making his attack? He's going up 5.1 watts per kilogram. Hulsemans chasing on in 2nd place. 6 watts per kilogram. And Ferrara in third. He's going deep red there, going into his pain zone. He tries to close the gap, and Hepner's just being distanced slightly now. Hulseman's Brejo toe to toe. Ferrara tries to just steadily close that gap down as Hulseman's puts in a bit more of an effort now. Ferrara not looking like he's going to make that bridge. He's just riding very sensibly. Come round this final bend. We've got Hulseman's and Brejo at the front. Hulseman's Brejo, I think is going to be between these two as Ferrara powers up, coming up to the finish line. Hulseman's Brejo battling, Ferrara chasing on. Ferrara still distance, he's not managed to cover that gap. I wonder if he thought that that banner was the finish line. Hulseman's opening up a little, 3 meters clear as Brejo comes back round again. Brejo, Hulseman's, who's going to hold it to the line? Hulseman's comes through again. Brejo drops into the draft. Hulseman's still pushing. Still got a while to go until the line. It's all calmed down a little bit. Who's got the final match to burn? 160 meters left to go. As Brejo puts in another effort. Hulseman's goes red again. Brejo just sits back in. And they both light it up again. 13.6 watts per kilogram from Brejo there as he comes around Hulseman's. And he opens up and he wins. Brejo cycling, Hulseman's, Ferrara and Guy still on the road. Ferrara looking like he's got this third place secure. Guy's just eased up slightly as Ferrara's got 46 meters left to go to the finish line. Ferrara comes through in third, fantastic race. Guy coming through in fourth. Ferrara and Guy did well there to group up and chase back on to the group of Brejo and Hulseman's, and they didn't let them have it easy at the end. Kent coming through in fifth position, Barker just behind. Kent laying everything down on the road here, bringing it through in 5.2 watt per kilogram as he's coming up to the finish line. Barker easing up, and is he going to ease up too much? We've got Huff chasing hard here. Huff's coming through. Now Barker's seeing the danger, and he puts the power down just to keep Huff off his back wheel there. Deegan's through in 8th position. Great riding by all. Result. Say, I think, give me, I think it's Mauro coming through in 9th position now. Jones in 10th. Got a clear lead over the next rider, Reynolds, on the road. Don't forget to get in your votes for Combativity Award. I know that Will's watching tonight on the YouTube stream, so if you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook, get your vote in. We'll be able to see it. See Reynolds coming through now. 11th position. Almeida just a little bit further back in 12th. The pacer box being lapped there as Reynolds comes through. I think Almeida's going to be able to overhaul that gap with 100 meters left on the road. Unless he's got some kind of Cavendish power stored in those legs. Reynolds crosses the line in 11th. Almeida, 130 meter gap over Ludlow as Ludlow comes through with a clear gap over Strong. Ludlow just easing up to enjoy the finish line there. 13th position. And Strong comes through 14th. And that's why they call it the wall climb, that huge wall. Leading up to the village. Strong come through in 14th. Avery in 15th. Darren. Everything in. Coming up to the line. 45 metres left to go. Great riding. Held off some fantastic races behind him. Darren. David Brookhusen here. Too much foliage there. And in the 17th position. Further back on the road, we've got Robinson. He's being chased at the moment by Ian Murray. Just behind them, another group of strong riders on the road. Rhea Usher. Ben Lowe. Robinson managed to make it over the line, safe in his 18th position. Ian Murray in 19th, but it's going to be a battle now. As Rhea kicks, turns on the afterburners, takes 20th position. Ben in 21st there. He was racing well earlier on, high position, but he's dropped back a little bit. As go back to Anton Wouters, 22nd. Ben's a great rider to watch on the stream anytime you see him battling away. A lot of these riders take part in the coaching that PRT put on, and the Thursday night race is a little bit of a free ride. It fits in with their training schedules, the way I understand it anyway. Merrow being chased by Hayes here. Merrow comes over in 24th, Hayes in 25th, and Lou 26th. Hey Lou, good racing. And Puga back in 27th. Now we've got Ursula, who's putting in a fantastic amount of effort here. She's only 20 metres behind Puga. I don't know if Puga realises the danger here. Ursula comes flying past, as does Jonathan Wales, and Puga there lost a couple of positions. Just perhaps, I don't know whether they've burnt all the matches or whether they were just having a chill on the way up to the finish line there. But Puga lost a couple of places to Ursula and Jonathan Wales, who are having a fantastic battle coming up the climb there. Drop back to Goodfellow. Goodfellow comes over in 30th. Rob G in 31st, being chased by Cook. So I think that might Rob Gill, the Mountain Goats racing series. If you've not had a go, if it isn't Rob Gill, anyway, it doesn't matter. The Mountain Goat series is still a good series, well worth having a look at. If you have a free on a Wednesday evening, it's another one of the great series that's been put on for a long time on RGT, and just keeps on rolling with some really good courses. The Cook there went through in 32nd position. Hurst just being reeled in by Simmons there. Simmons sitting in on the wheel. As Ian just pushes on a little bit more there. Ian puts in another burst. Broken the elastic to Simmons, I think now. Simmons put in a fantastic effort to catch back up to Hurst. But Ian's just turned on the afterburners, opened the gap back up again. Looks behind to make sure, and Simmons is distance there, 50 metres in the end. It's a great turn of speed by Simmons, but perhaps they thought that the finish line was coming a little bit sooner. The segment line there, I think, catches some people out. You see the banner for the segment line, and you think that's the finish. Simmons comes over in 34th. Usher in 35th. So this is Bev Usher. Bev is Will's dad. He races virtually every week on the PRT events on a Thursday, but he's also enjoying virtual cycling as a whole, and you'll see him quite often in the Saturday and Sunday Lose rides. Lose rides, fantastic rides. If you're looking for something that fits all categories, then Lose rides are great for that. They have a fast bunch that goes off at sort of race pace, at a companionable race pace. The idea is that you race at a fast speed, but you don't really try and drop each other. You keep it rolling through until near the end of the race, near the end of the ride, and then you give it the beans and try and make it to the finish line first. But if you go off for that fast pack at the front and you find that you've burnt out, then you just ease up a little bit, and then there's another group that comes through at their own pace, slightly further back on the road, and if you burn out from that, you can drop back to another pack. And if you burn out from everybody, Lou Ricks sits at the back of the race, the back of the ride. It's a group ride officially. He sits at the back of the ride and he just sweeps, brings everyone home. And a lot of the guys who go off in the race pack at the front, they re-enter the ride and they come through as sweepers at the back end of the ride as well, just to, on their cool down, bring everybody home. It's a fantastic bit of camaraderie in the race ride, group ride. I keep on saying race. Fantastic bit of camaraderie in the group ride. And also need to thank Bev. We've got the new VCN logo plastered all over the place. Hopefully you can see it on the live stream. And Bev's guy who's responsible for that. We had a VCN logo, and Bev liked it, but felt that it wasn't quite as good as it could have been, and he took it, tweaked it, and gave it back to us with some nice new features, some better clarity, some higher resolution, and it stands out against all sorts of backgrounds now and looks the mutts nuts. It's a fantastic logo now. Good before, it's just been improved. Logo version 2. See Tom Smith in 36th position now. Coming up this climb. Now, this is a place I'd love to go cycling to in real life. Tuscany, unfortunately, a little bit hard to get to for me. Given that my cycling dreams tend to only have a certain time frame with the family, I quite often find myself in Mallorca because of the ability of transfers, flights, etc. I can do a quick, long weekend cycling there, whereas Tuscany is a bit more difficult to get to, time-wise, flights-wise, etc. But hopefully one day I'll convince the wife that she needs to go cycling here as well, and will make a trip of it. See Tom Smith coming over, 36th position. And Johnson there. In a way, coming through to the end of this segment section. RGT, for those who aren't familiar with it, is growing all the time. It's got fantastic following on Facebook. There's a Facebook users page. As I say, there's the VCN Facebook page as well, where we keep up to date with all the races that we cover, and we try and bring you some of the new information that's coming out on the RGT platform. And we're an independent page, so we do cover some of the other events on the other platforms as well, but we tend to ride RGT, so it's mainly RGT focused coverage. Head over there, give you the inside track on what are the best races to go to and what we'll be streaming, what you can see on the RGT platform. We've also got some partners that we work with. So as I say, there's the Precision Rewards that you can join up to. There's also Paleo Valley that we work with, and we've got a code going through with them at the moment, which is Cycling 15. So if you're heading over to their store, if you're trying to make a clean break of it on January, I'm going through dry January at the moment, so I'm trying to stick to that. But if you're also trying to work on the diet and just doing your New Year's resolutions, trying to keep with a healthier, fitter you, there's Paleo Valley on there, which we do a Cycling 15 code. If you enter that, the discount promo codes in the checkout, you have 15% discount, and help you with your food, your nutrients and proteins, etc. Proteins? Yeah, get you all the things that you need, supplements to get you on for a healthier, brighter new year. Just coming to the top of the climb with Johnson now. As I say, quick reminder, Facebook wise, if you can like and follow the Facebook page, Instagram, we're on there, YouTube, if you could like and subscribe. Coming to the end of this stream very shortly as we see Johnson to the line. Johnson comes over the line in time, just over 1 hour and 3 minutes. A little burst of speed to the finish line. So that's it for this evening's racing. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you'll be back to see some more. And that was Riley Harvey for VCN, and that was the Precision Race Team Handicaps race. We're here every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Jump in and join in the racing next week.